Everyone, my name is Toby, and I make films for people who are starting out in their filmmaking and video making pursuit. So if that's you, I've made this for you. These are 5 items that I consider best buys for filmmakers. That means they're going to be affordable, they are going to be generic, they're going to stay with you as you grow, and ultimately they're going to be tools that will help you do what you want to do, tell your story, edit that video. So let's dive right in. First of all is the Simmod variable ND filter. This thing helps you cut light, and it is variable, so you can see as you dial it in, you can control it that way. There are a lot of these out there. You can find real affordable ones, cheap ones on Amazon. I think this is about 125 US dollars. Why is this worth your while? Well, there are 3 things that make this one stand apart. First of all, it is the locking ring. So you can see the ring right here. What does that do? Well, it helps you as you mount it onto your lens. So I'm just going to mount it on. On many other types of filters, what's going to happen is it's going to end up wherever the thread tightens. What this allows you to, this locking ring, allows you to line up the marker point. So they have a little dot here of indicating how much light cutting you want. And then this locking ring is going to allow you to tighten that. Let me just do that here. Tighten that where you want. So instead of having it anywhere, I want it right on the top of the lens where I'm looking down. So this locking ring is amazing. It helps you to see what you're doing. Secondly, this ND filter, as some others do, has hard stop. So you can see I'm going to dial it to minimum here, and you can hear that hard stop. And then you can dial it to the maximum. Again, a hard stop. So you know when you reach the max, it won't let you go beyond that. And this is a really big problem if you don't have the hard stops. The way these filters work, I believe the type of glass it is, if it crosses over too much, you'll get an X pattern, which basically makes your footage unusable. So this really allows you to not get into that scenario. Thirdly and lastly, what makes this so awesome is this little lever right here. This little lever allows you essentially to be focusing on composing your shot, and then with your, I use my index finger here, you can basically gradually dial in your exposure. And if you end up needing to use that little section of your shot, especially if you're shooting events or weddings or kind of a run and gun scenario, it's really smooth, as smooth as, you know, your hand moves. And it just allows for great operation. I think it's the closest thing to, have you heard of the Sony, electronic variable ND? I mean, obviously it's not electronic, but really allows you easy operation and to smoothly adjust your exposure on the fly. This filter, this ND filter, is fantastic. If you are starting off and you want to be able to cut the light down, but you're not in a situation where you can continue to change filters, this is a great buy. It's worthwhile of another tutorial itself. Another thing I haven't used before is the Revo ring, which a lot of people have been reviewing, which seem to snap on exactly to, you know, a variety of sizes of lenses. This one, in this case, I bought a 77mm, and I've adapted it with step up or step down rings to various lenses. That takes me to best buy number 2, and that is a 50mm lens. So in this case, I have actually a vintage Super Takumar 50mm lens. This is actually a screw-on M42 adapter, and I have an M42 to a Fuji mount, so I can screw that on. Why 50mm? First of all, they are affordable. Whether it's from Canon or Nikon or wherever else, you can adapt them, generally speaking, to mirrorless cameras. They are very affordable. They allow a lot of light gathering ability for a very low price. What does that mean? It means that the lens can open up. So in this case, this is a manual one. You can see as I open and close that down, Lots of light gathering if you're in a low light situation. If you want to that kind of subject isolation where the background is blurry, the typical zoom lens or kit lens is not going to be able to do that. These are super affordable, can be adapted, and like I said, really help that subject isolation. And what I like about the 50 millimeter focal length, which was so common on especially older film cameras as a kind of normal perspective, it becomes, because of the sensor size crop factor, which becomes smaller, it becomes effectively a 75 to 80 millimeter lens, which really makes it more of a portrait lens. And in a lot of cases, whether you're shooting interviews or weddings or events or whatever, you want to focus on a person, and getting that nice close up on the face or head and shoulders or a group of people where you can focus and isolate them and have the black background slightly blurry. These lenses are cheap, affordable, and they can do that for you. All right, third best buy on my list is the Logitech MX Master 3. Now, I held off on purchasing a kind of a nicer mouse. I mean, it's about 130 Canadian dollars, maybe $100 in the US, which is not a lot of money in the long run, but offers fantastic value. A couple reasons why this is worth the money. When, of course, you can go on Amazon or wherever else and find a lot of mice for a lot cheaper. I think there are a few reasons why this is a huge deal for what it is. First of all, it is the horizontal. My thumb here is scrolling horizontally. For video editing, this is a must. For timelines, just to be able to do that without always clicking and grabbing the bar or whatever the scenario is. This is huge. This was really the number one reason why I bought it. But secondly, a few other things. The software support that Logitech has, the Logi options, I believe it is, which allows you to customize all these buttons, the scroll wheel, whether it's natural or whether it's otherwise, and then to dial it in for specific applications, whether it's Final Cut or Premiere or whatever, it just works so well. And then you can save that profile. You can use it across different machines. And speaking of different machines, you can see there's a switch down here which allows you to easily use different laptops or devices. Real easy. You just set it to one of the three and you're good to go. So there are so many hardware and software options that make this such a great deal. This little scroll wheel here is super useful too. It's not just cool and spins super fast. I use it all the time now, especially when you're scrolling on longer web pages. This brings you back up and down. Really, really great. But a real must if you're getting into video editing. All right. Fourth thing is this top handle right here. Now this is a pretty generic one. Maybe I'll share the link on Amazon if it's still available. I want to just highlight a few reasons why this is so handy. First of all, if I'm not a cage person, and if you are shooting on a mirrorless camera and you shoot photo and video and you do a little bit of both, sometimes a cage is not really practical. And so what this does is really gives you something real stable, but that you can remove and then you just have your photo camera again or whatever it is. What I like about this specific one, first of all, the dial here that locks onto the hot shoe is nice and big. And if it's not big enough and you are just tightening with your fingers, it's going to be problematic because you do not want this to slip. You do not want to be holding your camera and your whole camera to slip off. Now, and the caveat here is really you can't overweight this because this is on the hot shoe of your camera. So we don't want a real heavy rig, but it still allows you a handle to, whether it's low shots or just even in between shots and sessions, to be able to hold something and not just a side grip is super handy. Another thing I really like about this, besides all the mounting points you can see on the side, are the number of cold shoe mounts. So we have one in the front here and then one in the back. And this really allows you. So for example, how I practically use it, this is a Rode Wireless Go. I can snap that in the back here, and then your shotgun mic, or a light, or perhaps a monitor, you can get it right up front, and then it's straight on ahead of you. So if you want that view where you're holding the handle and your monitor is right in front of you, that's available. And so, or otherwise, you can even, I've in some cases rested the receiver, or the transmitter of the wireless Go, and then I can really use it as is, or pop it off and clip it onto my talent or whatever I'm mounting this place on. So super hand. I wish I had got one of these earlier. I started using this last year. Super handy, generic. You can pop it on any camera. Last thing I'm going to talk about, which is a huge best buy for filmmakers, and admittedly, I think these batteries, of course, have been around for some time, but the ones that have power delivery, that is the ability to send more power than simply through the USB-A port here, but through the USB port with modern cameras, to be able to charge them and power them up as you are working is huge. They are affordable, way more affordable per capacity than your standard manufacturer battery. If you're buying multiple batteries for your Sony or Canon or Fuji, as helpful as those are, there's a lot more capacity here. You don't need to kind of go into the world of V-mount and gold mount batteries. And they're flexible. They can charge multiple things. So in this case, this particular one has a USB-C and a USB-A. So in my case, I can charge the camera, and then I can also charge my receiver, my wireless Go receiver. This takes a USB-C connection, USB-C to USB-A. So again, I can be shooting on this all day and not worry about losing power. So those are 5 things that I have found super helpful. Like I said, I think these have grown with me over the years. If I could start over again, this is what I would do. I bought a lot of terrible variable ND filters. I worked through different kinds of mouse trackpad scenarios that got my hand and forearm quite tired from video editing. And so overall, I hope this is helpful to you. Check out another video. I'm making videos for filmmakers and people who are starting off. So thank you for watching.